A high-end center console is one of the fastest ways ever invented to turn a very large amount of money into a slightly smaller amount of money. Sign for a new one, back it off the trailer for the first time, and it starts losing money the moment it's yours. Most boats shed 15 to 20% in that first year. A premium center console does better than that, closer to 10%. But on a $700,000 boat, that's still 70 grand gone before the hull ever tastes salt. But here's what almost nobody tells you before you hand over the deposit. Two center consoles that cost the exact same money on the showroom floor can be worth wildly different amounts a decade later. One holds its value like a safe deposit box. The other quietly bleeds out. And which one you're standing on has almost nothing to do with the sticker price, and everything to do with the badge on the hull, the way it was built, and how many of them the factory actually lets out the door each year. So we're going to name names and we're going to put real numbers on them. The high-end center consoles that genuinely hold their value, and the ones, some of them wearing million-dollar price tags, that destroy your money without you ever noticing. Whether you're about to buy new and you want it to still be worth something, or you're hunting the used market for the smart buy, this is the line between an asset and an expensive mistake. First, a word on time frame. 5 years is the number everyone quotes. It's the standard resale benchmark, so we'll use it too. But nobody keeps a serious boat like a car. 10, 15, 20 years is normal for a well-built offshore hull, so treat the 5-year figure as your starting line, not the finish, because the best boats keep right on holding long after it. And the curve is not a straight line. The steepest drop comes right at the start. That first year hit of around 10%. After that, a good center console gives up only about 5% a year, which is a genuinely gentle slope next to most boats. Then, if it's the right hull, it flattens even harder. By 10, 15, 20 years in, a well-kept boat from the right builder is barely moving. It's found its floor. A fast depreciating one never finds a floor, it just keeps sliding. Where brands separate is where that floor sits. The best high-end center consoles can still be worth 2/3 to 3/4 of their original price 10 years on. The worst can be worth 1/3 or less. Same water, same years, completely different financial outcome. Four things decide which side of that line a boat lands on. And once you know them, you can read a boat's future resale before you ever write a check. Build quality is first. This is a resin-infused, fully cored hull with a bonded stringer grid versus a cheaper layup with wood buried where wood should never be. The market knows the difference and it pays for it. Scarcity is second. Builders who deliberately turn out a small number of hulls a year create the one thing the used market can never flood. Supply. Hard to find holds value. Reputation and demand is third. Some badges carry a following that borders on religious. Buyers hunt them by name, and that keeps used prices propped up no matter what the wider market is doing. And fourth, the boring one that matters most. The builder has to still be in business with a dealer network and a parts pipeline behind it. A boat from a dead brand is an orphan. It's the same reason the engine package is worth real money. A boat rigged with widely serviced outboards like Yamaha or Mercury's Verado can be sold anywhere in the country tomorrow. Rig it with something exotic or orphaned, and you've shrunk your buyer pool to almost nothing. So who actually holds the money? Start with the hard data. One analysis of more than 12,000 center console sales ranked the 5-year retention leaders like this: Boston Whaler around 72%, Grady-White 70, Yellowfin 68, Regulator 67, Contender 65. At this level, a boat that gives back only 1/3 of its value is the exception, not the rule. But there's one brand that doesn't even play by these numbers. It breaks the rules entirely. Freeman. Freeman builds catamaran center consoles by hand in tiny numbers with a waiting list that runs about 3 years for a new custom boat. Think about what that does. If you don't want to wait 3 years, your only option is to buy someone else's, and you'll pay for the privilege. So a 1, 2, 3-year-old Freeman can sell for right about what the original owner paid, and sometimes more. A Freeman 37 that's stickered around $700,000 rigged can still command in the high 500s. A 2-year-old boat listing near 575,000. The bigger 42 averages right around a million on the used market, against a new price of roughly 1 to 1.3 million. There's no other center console on Earth where a used one routinely meets or beats what the first owner paid. That's not luck. That's scarcity doing exactly what scarcity does. Then there's Regulator, heavy, solid, Carolina built, rough water boats made in deliberately limited numbers and a rock steady 67% holder at the 5-year mark. A used 34 runs from the low 200s up near 490, averaging around 360. You pay a premium new for a Regulator and the market hands most of it back. Grady-White and Boston Whaler are the two kings of this world. The top two in that 12,000 boat study at 70 and 72%. Grady is the cult favorite, family owned, almost obsessive about build quality, with a following that's especially fierce across the Southeast. A new Canyon 376 that runs north of 600,000 still averages around 410 used. Whaler holds a hair better on paper, but it carries a persistent knock. It's expensive when new and takes its steepest hit in those first few years. So on either badge, the sweetest money is a lightly used one, where the first owner has already eaten the drive-off. Contender and Invincible round out the value holders. Fishing first, performance offshore hulls with liquid used markets and buyers who chase them by name. Now the other side, the high-end boats that quietly cost you the most, not in what you pay, in what you never get back. HCB builds the most expensive center consoles on the planet. The flagship Estrella carries a sticker just under $4 million. Rigged. They are spectacular, genuinely custom boats, and they are a resale trap. When you pay top of the market money new and load a boat with custom rigging, the used buyer simply won't follow you up there. An HCB 39 Special that ran anywhere from 700,000 to over a million rigged shows up used in the 3 to 600,000 range, with a 2020 example listed at 329,000. That's a brutal slide in just a few years. Beautiful boats, but punishing math. Everglades is the other cautionary tale, and this one stings because they're genuinely well built. But well built isn't the same as scarce, and Everglades depreciates like the production boat it is. A 435 that ran somewhere north of 800,000 new turns up used across the 4 to 600 range, with older examples sliding into the mid-300s. Nothing wrong with the boat. Everything wrong with the resale curve. And then there's Yellowfin, which has quietly become one of the most interesting value stories in the whole category, for reasons that are entirely public record. In 2021, Yellowfin was acquired by Warbird Marine Holdings, backed by the private equity firm EagleTree Capital, the same group that already owned Invincible. The company's headquarters stayed in Sarasota, Florida. Then, in 2023 and 2024, Warbird opened a new composite manufacturing facility in Merida, Mexico, and announced that hulls, decks, hardtops, and components would be fabricated there and shipped to Florida, where final assembly, rigging, and sea trials still take place. The reason the company gave was a chronic shortage of fiberglass labor in Florida. Here's why that matters for your money. The market has noticed. Some owners say the newest boats are the best finished Yellowfins yet. Others prefer the older pre-2021 Sarasota-built hulls. And that preference has turned clean, older Yellowfins into a genuine value play. A used Yellowfin 36 spans an enormous range depending on year and rigging, from the mid-100s up past 700,000. If you believe in the older boats, the market is handing you a chance to buy the story you like. If you like the new ones, you're getting a fresh factory allocation. Either way, know exactly which era you're buying, because on this brand, the year on the transom is part of the price. Now, one more thing that moves resale that almost nobody plans for: what's bolted to the boat. There is exactly one accessory with hard resale dollar evidence behind it, and it's the Seakeeper, the gyro stabilizer that kills the roll at anchor. Boats with one sell faster and for more, and depending on age, you can recoup somewhere around a third of its cost at resale, up to roughly half if it's newer and still under warranty. On a big offshore boat, that's real money, because a seakeeper is now practically expected equipment at this level. The rest, Starlink for internet offshore, FLIR thermal night vision cameras, a top tier Garmin or Simrad electronics suite, live sonar. All of it helps a boat show better and sell faster. But be honest with yourself. None of it comes with a reliable dollar for dollar return, so buy it because you want it, not because you think you'll get the money back. And your engines matter more than any of it. And here are the marketplace favorites. Yamaha holds its value the best of anyone. A Yamaha rigged boat commands a real premium on the used market, especially across the Southeast and Mid Atlantic, where buyers ask for those outboards by name and pay up to get them. Mercury's Verado is right behind it and sells easily anywhere. The base Mercury 4-stroke trails a little further back on a reputation for higher upkeep. And the older 2-stroke outboards, those get discounted hard. A boat still wearing them is priced as if the motors are already half spent, but any of the modern 4-stroke brands is mainstream and service anywhere, which is the entire point. Rig a boat with something exotic or orphaned instead, and you've built in a resale liability no hull brand can fully rescue. One last thing the market is shouting right now. Geography moves the number too. Demand is running hottest on the Gulf Coast this year. Texas and Louisiana are up around 15% year over year. So the same boat can be worth real money more in Galveston than in a short seasonal northern market. Where you buy and where you sell is part of the price. So here's how to think about it before you spend the money. The cheapest boat to buy is very often the most expensive boat to own, once you count what it loses. A premium hull that costs more upfront but holds 2/3 of its value can leave far more money in your pocket than a bargain that holds a third. Buy the build quality. Buy the badge the market actually chases. Rig it with an engine every shop in the country can service. And if you can stand the wait or the hunt, buy a 2 or 3-year-old example of a great brand. Let the first owner eat the drive-off hit and step aboard a boat that's already found the flat part of its curve. Because the boats that hold their value aren't holding it by luck. They're the ones built to last, made in numbers small enough to stay wanted, and wearing a name serious buyers will always come looking for. So tell me down in the comments, what's the best holding boat you've ever owned, and which one lost you the most? The people shopping right now are reading every word.